let's just, yeah, so the class is recording now. So what we need to do is we need to come to our Chrome as we normally do. Then when we come to our Chrome, we want to type Zoho account or whatever. We can also select an account that is already open, so we can scroll down because we've been working on all these accounts. So we have some of them that are open. So I can just click on this one and let's see what happens. Right. So it's loading. Let's see what happened. All right, so this is what we have right now, right? So now, Zoho Books. It's still loading. Let's give it time. Yeah, right. We're back here. Now, this is the account we're actually working on. This is the account we're working on. So we are done with all these items that we are creating. Oh, did I just close it? Amazing. Let me try again. Sorry. Zoho Books. Zoho. Yeah, so I think this is where we are. Zoho Books. Sorry about that. I'll close the other one. So now we are back now. So this is where we actually are. Then what we want to do is I want to now go to, so these are the items that we have. So let me go back to this place. Let me go back to this place and change to home. Let's go to home. Okay, so we are at the home page now. Then from here, let's go back to the item. Let's see the numbers of items that we already have. If this is the account that we've been working on. Okay, fine. This is beautiful. So this is good. Now, since we have all these items, right? The next thing we want to do is, if you have anything to say, can't see your screen, sir. I guess it's on your end. If you can see my screen, can you give me a thumbs up on the chat? Okay, a lot of people can see my screen. I can get thumbs up. So I get you're the one that can see my screen. So kindly log out and try and log in again. Mr. Mala. Log out and log in again. Thank you. So back to what we are looking at. Let's go back to what we are looking at. Yeah. So now you can see now that we're done with items, and a lot of us, we understand how to create items. That is not an issue. So the next thing we want to go do is, now we've also done a lot of part of our chart of account. We've done part of our chart of account, which we've been able to get all the incomes. We've been able to get some other items that we need to look. So these are the what we've done. We've done the sales, which is the income account. I think we've also done cost of sales. Yeah, we've done cost of sales. Then we might need to do other things like expenses is very important. Then we work on other things also, like other current liabilities, then assets that we've not worked on. We're going to work on all of those ones in other classes, right? But today, let's try and create an invoice today. So what we're going to do is that to create an invoice, you just go straight to your sales. Go straight to sales. Once you go straight to sales, click on invoices. So from sales, click on invoices. And here you can see you have to create a new invoice. But before you do this, let's also go and check how to get our customers, because for you to create an invoice, you actually need customers that you actually want to send the invoice to. So let's quickly create a customer, right? So we just click on the customer module, and then from there, we want to click on new. We click on new over here, right? So the first thing we want to determine, the customer we're trying to create, is a person a business? Is it like a corporate organization, or is it just an individual? You need to be very sure about what you're selecting here because it matters a lot. Then you want to select the status of that company or the individual. Is it a Mr. or is it a Mrs.? Then what is the name? So let's say we want to have something like, let's say we want to have something like Ademola. Then the last name you can say Tajuddin. So I'm just guessing any name, right? So that is not actually anybody's name. I'm just guessing that. Then the next thing is that the company name, if is important, you can put it. But what is important the most here, you can see anything that is important will always be in red, right? So this is in red. So how do you want the name to actually display? Say we can say Mr. Ademola Tajudeen or Ademola Tajudeen or Tajudeen Ademola, however you want it to display, you can always select this place. Then another thing is that you want to put the email address. We can say Ademola Tajudeen at gmail.com. So that is that for the email address. Then for the number, for the phone number, you want to put any number. Let's say, like that would say 80 23 245 or 23 or 245 71422, right? So you can get a number like that. You can also decide to get another number. Yeah, this is phone number, then this other number. Then language automatically is English. Though when we're trying to create this stuff, it didn't give us the opportunity to change the language, right? So by default, I guess Zoho Books wants to make sure that all their Zoho is all open to English, right? Though you can also select any other language based on your customer. If your customer is not a Nigerian, is not an Englishman, you can select whatever language that the customer understands, so that when you create your invoice or you generate your invoice, the invoice will be sent to the customer in the language that he or she understands. Okay, so that's that. Now the next thing you want to do is this. You want to now go further to look at other details. So these are the other details, the tax rate that the client is supposed to use. Now don't forget that we've not created any tax, which by default we are supposed to go and create a tax. Now, if you're in an environment where you don't pay tax, probably most of the services are not valuable, also, then you may not bother yourself to go and create the tax rate. But if you are in an environment where you actually pay VAT to the government, then you want to make sure you enable the rate of tax that you are going to pay, which you are going to select for this customer, because this transaction we are going to pay or create now, we're expecting that the customer should pay VAT on whatever invoices that we're sending to the customer. So we're still going to come back to this tax, right? So what we want to do now is, after we've done all that details, let's scroll down. Currency has been set by default to Naira, then account receivable. That is where this transaction, all invoices that are raised, they'll always go to account receivable, because at the point of raising all invoices, we assume that the client has not paid. So all invoices are all like they go to your debtor balance, right? To show that the client has not paid, right? Then maybe later you now start recording sales, start capturing payment and all that. Then you can see that it will start doing the accounting treatment at the background. Where okay, but for now, let's leave it as this. Now the next thing we want to do is that we want to now go further to look at, does this customer have an opening balance? Let's assume you are trying to onboard, or you are trying to take you're going to take the balances from another account, right? Maybe you have another accounting software. You want to import all those other opening balances from other accounts. You want to import them here. So what you're going to do is that where you have opening balance, you can put the opening balance that it is. Remember, this balance, we already know that this customer is without us recording payment, we assume that all customers are credit customers. They are owing. So when you put a balance here, it shows that the balance you're putting here is a balance that the customer is owing us, okay? So that is what is going to reflect in the customer's account, that the customer is actually owing us this particular money. So then let's continue. If there's no balance, we can leave it like that. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to come to payment terms. So under these payment terms, you want to determine how do you want your customer to pay. Is this customer a credit customer? Does it delay in payment? Probably there's an agreement, there's an arrangement that, okay, any sales you make to us, we are going to pay within the next 60 days. So now, okay, the payment term is next 60. Or they say, okay, anything you send to us, we're going to pay within the next 30 days. So we said, okay, it's next 30. Or we're going to pay within the next 15 days. And we say, okay, it's next 15. Or probably this customer, we don't allow him to owe us at all. As we are supplying him that goods, the guy is paying us on the go, okay, on the spot. Then we want to select due on receipt. So it depends on the agreement or arrangement that you have with the client. Okay, when you issue something to the client, is the client expected to pay immediately, or is the client expected to owe you for a certain period before paying you? So that is what this is about. Okay, so most times customers always have some kind of agreement or arrangement with the company, and then you can decide to pick any of these that suit the agreement that you already have with the customer. But other than that, you can just pick due on receipt. When you pick due on receipt, it means that immediately you issue that invoice, then the customer should pay, right? However, if it exceeds that day, it starts counting that the customer has defaulted, right? And there are some defaults that we attract payment. We can set late payment fee and all that. So, but that's not what we want to do in this call. So here we now have due on receipt. So the things I should note is this. Number one, note how to capture the balances. This is a customer. Most times customers are debtors. So when you're trying to capture balance here, you are capturing the balance that the customer is a debtor. You are trying to pass a debit balance to his account, which customers are always they are always assets, right? So when you see customers, just think about debtors. So your customers are all debtors, right? So that is what we can classify them as for the purpose of this account. So for your customers, when you have an opening balance, it shows that it's a balance that they are owing you as at the beginning of this period when you want to onboard them into this system. Then the next thing you want to do is so we are done with the first one. If you like, you can impute a document here, probably the arrangement that you have with the customer. You can click here for more details, and under the more details, you're going to see website URL, you're going to see department, you're going to see the designation, you're going to see their X account, you're going to see Skype or whatever, Facebook, and you have a lot you can put there about the customer. Then you can also come to address. Under the address, this is where you want to put the shipping address, you want to put the billing address, you want to put the city, the zip code. All these things are not actually important. They are not actually mandatory. Okay, if you don't put them, it doesn't mean that you will not be able to create your customer. You can always do any of these. But if you want to have a detailed information about your customer, you can go on to fill in all these places. You can also have a contact person for the customer, right? Probably there's somebody that you need to interface with and not deal with the customer directly. You can have a contact person. Another thing you want to also check is a custom field. Under this custom field, we need to set it, right? There are certain fields that we cannot bypass until we have already done those things. We can set all those things. So like, if you don't want anybody to be able to edit whatever customer list that you have created, or once they created it, before they can delete a customer, you are expecting them to like reach out to you, right? You give them approval before they delete it. You can always set that through the custom field. So just go to your settings. In your settings, go to your preferences. On your preferences, go to your vendors and customers. You can also refine the address formats of your customers and vendors from there, okay? So you can do a lot of things from that place, from your settings and your references. You can always achieve a lot. So then the next thing, reporting tags. Let's click on reporting tags. So yeah, you can go to your, so you have not created any reporting tags, start creating reporting tags by going to more settings and then click on reporting tags. Okay, so all those things are what you can do. You can also have a remarks and all that. But other than that, I think we are good with what we have, right? So what just do is that just come over here and save. Now, voila, the first customer has been created. So now, if in case you have a list of customers, right? Maybe you have customers running into millions, okay, and then you want to like capture all those lists. You want to onboard those lists into your accounting software. All you need to do is that just go to here where you have more. When you go to more, right, you will see a lot of things on the drop down. So not here. Let's leave here. Let's go back to our customers. So this is our customer, right? This is the first one that was created. So just come to this dot that you have here, more actions. You click on the dot. You're going to see where it's saying export or import. The first thing you want to do is that you want to export these. Export customers. You click on export customers. It's going to tell you that you can export your data from Zoho Books in CSVs, XLX, XLLSX format. So whatever format you want, you can put it. So I think all these things are good. Then, yeah, all these are good. Then let's say we want to have it in Excel format. So just click on XLSX, right? So when I come here, include sensitive personal identification information. Okay, you can click on whatever you want to do. Then file protection password. If you like, you want to put the password, you can create the password from here. Then you go straight to export. Now let's see, once we export it, right? So let's go and check our downloads. We come to our download here. So exactly the same thing I'm doing for our customer, you can also do for your vendor, right? You can also do for vendor. So we come to our downloads. Under your downloads, you will see contact. So just click it and let's go. So yeah, so just open with Excel. So we are seeing those things that we need. So once you open it with Excel, you can see that here. Yeah, so this is the file. This is how the file looks like. So let me make this thing wider. You see that here we have the created time, right? You have the time that it was created. You have last modified time. Then you have display name. So in case you have a customer, you can put the way you want the name of the customer to display. If you have 1 million, just copy and just come and paste all the names here, right? Just copy and paste them here. And that thing you want to do is that in case you have a customer, in case you have those names separated, you can quickly use concatenate, okay? And it's an Excel whatever. So concatenate, you can merge those names together. Then we have the salutation, we have the first name, last name. Just come and populate it exactly the way you see this one populated. And you have the phone number, you have the currency, you have the website, status, active, then created by who created it. It's going to show the person that created it. Then the next thing you want to do is, so we didn't put any opening balance. Assuming we put any opening balance, you have seen it over there. Then you want to see what else can you see? Okay, so we come here. So yeah, there's a place also that you can actually set the credit limit of the customer. If in case now you must notice that for this customer we pay on delivery. Why some customers are going to be what's it called? Some customers are going to be net 50, net 60, net 30, and so on and so forth. Those are the customers that you can now set their credit limit, right? So you can see customer subtype. You can see what else can we say? I think that is almost all. So this is the payment terms, is due on receipt. Then another thing is the primary contact ID. So most times, right, you can see this number, you can decide to ignore it. then your email address, then whatever. So all this ID, you can decide to ignore it. Probably Zoho will create another one by itself or assign another one to itself. Then is this person taxable? He said yes, it's taxable. But we've not actually set the rates of tax for that kind of individual. Then the tax name, VAT, tax percentage, everything we show there, assuming we have it. Then you're going to see source and so on and so forth. So once you have, even if you have 1 million customers, you can easily come and populate this sheet that we exported from Zoho. Once you've populated the sheet, then you can go on and import it back into Zoho. So what we've done now, we've first of all looked at how to create a customer. We've created a customer. Then we look at how to export that customer list. And that is what we have done. So the next thing you want to do is that you now populate the customer list. Assuming you have already a list of customers that you're using, you can quickly populate this sheet. Once you finish populating it, even if it's 1 million, whatever, populate everything, and then you just upload it once. You don't need to start doing it manually the way we were doing our chat, our chat account. So what you just need to do is just come back to your Zoho. When you come back to your Zoho, right, come back to the same place where you had, hold on. So you come back to the same place where you have these 3 dots, okay? From these 3 dots, click on it. Once you click on it, then it's going to tell you to import. So you need to import from there. So you just click on import customers. You can import from it. But here we have export. That is where we actually took the file from. But if you want to import it, you just come to import and just import it back into the software. Then the next thing you want to do is that now we now have 1 customer, right? So with this 1 customer, we can go on to create an invoice for this customer. At the same time, we can also go on to create a vendor, right? So the same way you are creating your customers is the same way you can also create your vendor. But let's leave that first. Let's go and work on the sales. But before we do that, let's check if there are some settings that we can easily do from our home screen. So we're back to the home screen. We're back to the home screen. From the home screen, I want to see what we can do. This is our dashboard. Let's check our getting started. Okay, getting started. We look at add organization details and all those. So all these are not what we want to look at. Let's check for I'm coming. Let's check all these configure features. Okay. So codes, timesheet, price list, sales order, purchase order. I would like to enable inventory and all that. So let's close this one out. Yeah. So what you want to do is I want to do some settings to our account, right? Go to the top of your account. You go to the left-hand side. Oh, sorry, I mean the right-hand side of your account. You will see this cog icon. This icon is what they call the setting. So let's click on the setting icon and see what happens. So once you click on setting, this is what you're going to see, right? So now we want to try and actually work on the taxes. So if you check here, you see organization settings. We see organization, we see the profile, we see the branding, we see the custom domain, we see the location, we see the managed subscription. Then we also see other customization. We see a lot of things, right? PDF template and a lot of other things, module settings, right? All these are where we have accountant, project, and all those stuff, purchases, developer data. We have integration and the market, but we don't want to bother ourselves with all those. Let's just go to the top. Now, under this top now, we can see our taxes. So let's just click on taxes. Once you click on taxes, then here is very easy, right? So here you want to add a new tax. So add a new tax. Once you put on the new tax, so what's the name of the tax? You call it VAT, right? Then the rate, you want to call it 7.5. 7.5%. So that's fine. Now we've saved that already. So I think other than this, our 7.5 VAT that we ought to save, There's no other tax that we ought to save. There's no other tax that is applicable except for this. Except if you want to say you want to now go to your payroll module, which you can access from here. Payroll module is not here. So now we are done with this, right? So this is the tax that we want to put. What other setting do we want to enable? Is there any other setting? For now, I don't think there's any other setting. So let's go back to let's now go back to where we were. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. Let's come like this. Then from here, you want to now. So was there anything I said I wanted? So you can click on close settings from here. So click on close settings. Since we've done our tags that we need, then there's a place that also tell us that we can also do our custom settings. So from this place, let's look for preference. From here, let's go look for preference, right? Let's check for preference, user preferences. Okay, let's click on here. Field name, data type, mandatory status. So let's click on mandatory. Okay, nothing is showing. Fine. So let's go back. Let's go back and let's cancel. Let's close out. Let's off setting, and we are back where we have. So here for here now, we can now start creating our first invoice. So let's go straight to our. We can still go back to our customer, right? We can see, click on this, our customer, we can edit it. We can add that the customer is actually VATable. So when we come over here, we want to come to where we have tax. So for the tax, select your tax. And now you can see VAT is showing. Now you select your VAT. It means that any invoice that we are creating for this customer, our VAT is going to apply to whatever invoice that we're creating for the customer. Then we just click on save. So once you click on save, then we can go back to our sales. From our sales, we come to our invoices. Now let's now create the first invoice that we want to use. So I click on new. So when I click on new, I want to select the customer. So let me click on this drop down. Okay, we have only one customer, but the best way to search for customer is to come to this cog icon. Once you click on this thing, okay, just type the name of the customer and then click on search. And then this thing is very, very effective. It brings out the name of the customer that you are looking for. So let's assume I want to search for Tajuddin, right? I come here because if you have a lot of customers, Tajuddin may not show here because now it's showing because Tajuddin is the only customer that we have currently. But imagine that you have like 1 million customers, right? Imagine that you have 1 million customers. It becomes very difficult for you to be able to access them if you don't search for them. So you just come over here, you come and search for Tajuddin. Just click on Taju, then click on search. And it's going to search and bring out Tajuddin. Then click on Tajuddin and all that. So this is Tajuddin now. So we've selected the customer that we need to actually create an invoice for. The next thing we want to do is this. We want to now come over to automatically your invoice number is generated by the system. If you want to change it, you can always come here and say configure invoice number preferences. So if you want to change the invoice number, you can decide to change this over here. It depends on you, right? You can change the invoice number and all those stuff. So, but I think what is there naturally is already good enough for us. So just leave it at that. So automatically this is start counting the numbers of invoices that you've done. Okay, so this is the first invoice. Then order number, you can decide to create an order number. Then the date that you're doing the invoice. Remember, this date is very, very important. Check the transaction. There are some transactions that may occur in January, right? And probably because we've not captured those transactions in January, then now you are in February. So don't just allow this software to capture any date for you. Make sure the date that you are trying to put is actually the date that the transaction occurred, okay? So let's assume a transaction occurred on the 1st of January. So we quickly come here and click 1st of January and so on and so forth. But we're in February now, right? So let's just click February. So this is February 14, which is Valentine's Day. Then the next thing now automatically your account receivable, any invoice that you're raising is going to be going to account receivable. Why? Because it's assumed that all customers are your debtors, right? So, and then they are your receivables. So anything you create under your customers, they always go to account receivable. Apart from us matching expenses in the financial statement, apart from us matching cost of sales and all those stuff, this one, when you create a customer, automatically it has been added to account receivable. So the next thing you want to do, the salesperson. Who is this person that sold or that assisted us to initiate this sales? Let's assume you have some people that help you in marketing, right? You have different people that does marketing for you, and then when they do marketing for you, they're able to now make sales. So let's say we have Mr. Moses. Let's say there's one Mr. Moses that works with us. We can easily come over here and put Moses. So we can create a salesperson. So let's quickly come here, click on the drop down. Once you click on the drop down, there's no name. So let's say manage salesperson. You just click on manage salesperson and just manually put in the salesperson. So let's say Moses. Okay, so Moses is the salesperson, right? So email address is not showing and all that. So new salesperson. So now, so the new salesperson, now click on it. You are going to have the name of the salesperson. Let's say the name is Moses. Then you can put the email address, probably Moses J at yahoo.com. Right. So once you've done that, then you want to click on save and select. So you click on save and select and all that. So this transaction that we are trying to create now will be recorded under Moses's transaction to show that Moses is actually working. And the next thing I want to do is I want to now come to subject. For the subject now, we can say repairs of Corolla Camry. So it depends on whatever you're doing. So repairs of Corolla Camry. Then you want to come here and start selecting items you need in your invoice. So let's click the first one. The first item we're going to click on is what we call, now the vehicle came to our office. The first thing to detect the fault of the vehicle, we need to do inspection for that vehicle. So the first thing is going to be inspection. So, and then automatically our inspection amount has been calculated, and automatically you can see that inspection, the final one is going to be 21,700. For those people that were there when I was talking about inspection, right? So inspection is actually vatable. So everything has been done for, because this customer, when we created this customer, we told Zoho Books that this customer is a vatable customer. So you can see here we have the VAT. Then the next thing you want to do is I want to now select another thing. After doing inspection with us, what else do we want this guy? What else is he doing? So we now say, okay, the next thing he's going to do is that he's going to actually we are going to buy spare parts for the vehicle. So let's say we are buying spare part of, like, say, the spare part is actually, let's say it's 500,000 or 1.5 million, as the case may be. So the spare part is 1.5 million. Fine. Then the next thing, so once you are creating this thing, let me tell us one thing that you must not do. Don't click on enter. If you click on enter, it's going to save the invoice as a draft. So let's go back to our invoices. Let's go back to our invoices. Then look at this invoice now. It has been saved as a draft. So just click on it and continue what you want to continue to do. So yeah, so yeah, let's edit the invoice. We are not done with it. Edit the invoice. So always don't click on enter. If you click on enter, it's going to save the invoice automatically. So we come down to this place. We've seen Mr. Moses. Then we've selected vehicle inspection. The next one we selected spare part, and it's 500,000. Then this guy, we are not working for free, right? This guy should know that we are not working for free. So let's now select another thing. right? We add a new row. We can add a new item. So you can also do bulk. If you want to select items in bulk, you can also do that. So you can click on, we check where my cursor is. This my cursor here is telling me that I could actually, let me do something. I'm coming. All right. So I could also check, if you check here, you see that here we have this add items in box. You can do that. You can add item in bulk, or you can add new role. So let's just click on add new role, or let's click on add item in bulk. So once you click on add item in bulk, then you just start selecting the item. So the first one that we've done we've done inspection, we've done spare parts. Let's say apart from doing those spare parts and all that, we need to do alignment for the vehicle to be sure about the alignment. So we selected alignment, and then quantity is 1. The next one, we want to also select vehicle detailing. We need to watch the vehicle after we are done. The next thing is that we also need to now ask the organizer to actually pump the tire. And lastly, we need to collect our service charge. So under this vehicle workshop income, this is where we actually collect our service charge. This is also where we collect sundry and procurement. So we want to click on this, and then we have it here. So we just add the item. So once you add the item, all the items have been added at once. All you need to do now is that check, is there anyone that has details like numbers and all those stuff? So this is a alignment and rebalancing. We've already said it's 10,000, and that is fine. This is our spare part. We've gotten an answer for it. Then our vulcanizer income, vehicle detailing, we said it's 25,000. Our vulcanizer, let's say the guy is going to help us by doing it for, let's say, is it 5,000 standard price or so? Then we have workshop income. For our workshop income, we don't want to collect nothing less than 350 from the customer. So 350,000. So once we have that, then I think we're good to go. What else are we going to do? So you can also come to this top, check if your tax is tax exclusive, or you can click to check if you want to make it tax inclusive. So it means that all these figures that you are putting here, right? You want to ensure that this figure, they are not the figure that is VAT inclusive. We want it to be VAT exclusive. So that's why we have tax exclusive, so that the tax we're calculating on this amount for you to get the actual value they are looking for. So if you check here now, you see that our top total is actually 1.9. Then our tax on it is actually 143,263.95, and it's fine. Then what we want to do is I want to say it's good. Do we want to save it? Do we want to save it and move on? Do you want to save it and move on? You can actually save or save and send. So let's save it first, right? Once we save it, don't forget that this is our saving that we're doing. Yeah, you can see that this is our saving that we are doing. The savings we are doing, we've not actually captured payment, right? So we actually not capture payment yet. So look at this way, say configure payment gateway and receive payment online. So we've not done any payment gateway. So in case you want to like link your whatever and want to get payment online, you can go on to do all this. But I don't feel we want to start all this now because we are not ready for this, right? So you just quickly click on cancel. Then what I want to do is I want to continue to just manually collect money in our account in our own Nigerian bank. So we now come over here. We are not set for this. So let's come to this, our save. We now save the invoice. So once you save the invoice, you can now go back to the invoice. Now the invoice is just like a draft. The invoice is just a draft. So you need to now, if you check the top of the invoice, you have where you say edit the invoice, send the invoice, share the invoice, PDF/print. If you want to print it, you can print it from here. You can also record payment directly, okay? But before we record payment directly, let's check the bottom. Send this invoice to your customer or mark it as sent. So the first thing you want to do is that you want to mark this invoice as sent. So simply click on this place and say you've marked it as sent. Okay, so it's not telling you that, okay, invoice has been sent to the customer and automatically it has posted into our account. So once you send the invoice to customer, automatically you see the postings have been done to show that this is a live transaction. It's no longer just a procurement, sorry, a pro forma invoice, no longer like just a pro forma invoice, but now it has been actually sent to the customer. Okay, so it has been sent to the customer like that. So the next thing you want to do, after you've done that, okay, you want to now go and receive payment. So let's come to the top. We've marked it as sent. We come to the top. What you want to do is that you want to come here. So you can see now, you can see here, you can say record payment. So let's come and click on record payment. Okay. Click on here, we record payment. So from here, most people ask a lot of questions. They say, how do we capture withholding tax? If this guy paid us, but he paid us and he did not pay the withholding, he paid us and deducted some money from it, which is the withholding tax, how do we capture it? Okay. So the first thing is that the name of the customer is here, which is fine. By default, the name of the customer is there. Then the next one is the first payment that we are trying to receive. The next one is the amount. How much did he pay? Of a truth, the customer is owing us 2 point something million, but did he pay everything? If he paid something, if he paid everything, fine, leave it everything like this. We paid everything, leave it like this. But if he did not pay everything, just cancel out and put the amount that he actually paid. Let's say he has paid 2 million alone. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So he has paid 2 million. Then the next thing you want to check under, you will see where it say bank charges, if any. So we don't want to leave this, we don't want to put this one, or if there's a bank charge that you incurred when the person paid, I can also come and put it here. Okay, if there was a debit on that account when the person paid us, unlike what we have now, that is only when you pay that they debit you, but before, when somebody sent money to your account, they also debit you, but it's different for now. So what you want to do is that you want to now check that, okay, this payment, did they debit us when we receive the money, which obviously is no. Then if you now come to this bottom, this is a place that people have been asking, how do we record withholding tax? Somebody deducted money from our account. How do I record withholding tax? You didn't pay us the complete invoice. You have created an invoice for 100%, but this guy did not pay you 100% of the invoice. He actually withheld some money. So this is where you're going to put the tax deducted as source. So yeah, say the first one is saying no tax deducted. But if a tax was deducted as source, simply click here and say tax was deducted as source. Then it's going to ask you what is the amount withheld. So let's say the guy withheld 50,000. Let's say the guy with or 10% of our original invoice. Our original invoice was 2 million, or is an individual. Let's just take 5% of our original invoice. So let's just take 5% of our original invoice. So let's see, 5% of our original invoice is going to be something like hold on, just give me 2 minutes. 5% of the original invoice, which is 2,053,450. So let's assume the person deducted 5%. Wow, 5% is so large. It's like 100 and something thousand. So if you minus 100 and something thousand from these 2,053,450, so we are going to have like 1.95 whatever. So here we say that they withheld 5%, 0.102672, okay, dot 5. So this is the amount that I withheld. So now is an advanced tax. You can click down to see what kind of tax is it. Is it an employee advance? Is it prepaid expenses? It's not actually a prepaid expenses, it's an advanced tax, which is fine. So once you have an advanced tax, there is fine. Then the next thing you want to do is that here, what date was the payment made, which is also today? What mode was the payment made? Let's say it was made through a bank transfer. Fine. Then next thing you want to do is I want to say, okay, what is the payment? The payment received on is the same thing over here. You can leave that one. Then deposit to, where did you deposit to? And this is where we now need to now go back to our what is it called? Our chart of account, right? Under our chart of account, we now need to now capture in our cash and cash equivalent, because under our cash and cash equivalent, that is where our bank is going to be. Okay, so let's just select cash first, or petty cash. Okay, let's just select petty cash first, but which is not right. Our money is not supposed to go to petty cash, or let's say cash account. Okay, or let's say cash account, but it's not working. So petty cash is the only thing that we can see in this regard. So let's just leave it like that. Okay, then you can put the reference number if there's any. You can put a note to the customer. You can do all those things. You can send thank you notes to on this and all that. Then let's just, once this is good for us, okay, once this is good for us, we can just come here and save as paid. You can click on here, save as paid. So it's telling us something, that there's something that we have not done. So it said that we recorded more payment. Yeah, so this is what I expected. So here now, we've assumed that 102 was withheld. Now, if you take away 5% from this amount, the amount remaining, which is going to be 95%, is supposed to be 1,950,000, okay, 777.5. So this is the amount that ought to be recorded here, because 5% was actually withheld as withholding tax. So once you've done that, you can click on save and save as paid. Let's see. Okay, look at it. The invoice is now telling us that it has been paid, right? It didn't tell us that it has been partly paid. It told us that it has been paid. And you can see the name of the customer. You can see the invoice items that we've selected. You can see that here, amount withheld is showing that it withheld this amount. Amount made is this amount, right? What is the balance due? There is no balance due because we catered for everything. The customer withheld an amount, and then this is the amount that the customer paid. So when you sum everything together, it's going to become net of this amount. We're going to have a balance of 0. So if you go to the bottom, you're going to see the accounting entry, which you can also check to understand what is actually happening in this regard. Now you must note something, that your sales is actually your sales is always a credit, is always credited. So you can see that all the items that were selected, they are all income. So incomes are always credited. That's why you can see that all the incomes were credited, right? All the income were credited. Now the only thing that was a debit here is only the account receivables, because it's assumed that whenever you're creating a customer, account receivable is the best account that that customer's transaction goes to. Okay, that's the best account that the customer transaction go to. Okay, though you also capture that the money also went into the bank. Okay, so this is the transaction that we have. So let me quickly enable our voice so that we can ask question here before we move on to the next place. Let me enable our voice so that we can quickly ask question in case there's any area of clarification we might need. Let me quickly do that so that we can ask question before we move on. So the next thing we want to go and do is we are still going to create our vendor. Then after creating our vendor, we also try to capture some additional stuff into the chart of account. So yeah, any question on what we've done so far? Are you lost anywhere? Do you need clarification? What is it? Let's hear from you. 2 minutes, please. 2 minutes. Okay, go on. Go on. Oyebawe Samuel. I mean, what's the name? Yes. Do you have any question, or you are just raising your hand? Okay. Is it like everybody can see my screen, or it's just some people? Okay. So he said he didn't get the part. Someone said he didn't get the part where I edited the invoice and make adjustment for withholding tax. Okay. So the rest said, okay, about the withholding tax, explain more. Okay, fine. So I think I've enabled our voices in case you want to try to speak.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. I can hear you. Go on.
All right. My question goes like this. For e-commerce, like my company now, what we do, we use a Shopify, and we want to for accounts receivable, because we can't have the names of the customer registered on it. So I don't know how to those areas. Unlike others ERP that maybe you have a constant customer that you can easily register them. But this one, customer comes, buy, and go. But I don't know how that can be possible on the software.
Okay, so the customer, so you're saying that they are just like one-time customer and all that. So
yes.
So this online platform that you use for your payment, is it actually linked to your software?
Yes.
So it's linked to your Zoho or whatever?
Yes.
Okay, so if there's a way, because any transaction that actually happens, you must actually account for them. So if there's a way you can download the names of those customers, like the way you can, and also if there's actually a way that once they are trying to make purchase, certain informations are asked from them, like their email address, their first name, their last name, which will not take them anything to quickly do. They can always give those information. So those information is what you collate and use to create their whatever. So you can also check through the bank statement. Most of the time, when those payments are made, probably it enters your bank statement, and I don't know how they treat it. Probably you show that okay, so the person actually paid into your account. You can also use the bank statement to also check their names. So each of those sales, right, we're showing that okay, the payment came from so and so person. So I guess that is how to go.
All right, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir.
Thanks.
So for those people that said they couldn't understand how the withholding tax was captured, so we'll go and create an additional invoice. Okay, we create an additional invoice, and from that invoice, we're going to redo that withholding tax aspect. So, Mr. Taufik Abbas, let's hear you.
Yes, sir. I did not join the link. Like I'm unable to join the link when we start. So I need you out where you are creating the invoice for the customer. So I want to ask a question that have you like how did you get the figure for the car? Like have you created the receipt or the name for the customer before? Like because I just met you out where you are creating invoice. I don't know the part you have done before. That's
Okay,
my
so
question.
thank you for your question. So I think the best thing to do is that when a training is set for certain time, let's try and attend on time so that we will not draw others back. Yeah, because it's not me you're actually drawing back, you're drawing other people back. Well, let's just go and check and see what needs to be done again. So I come back to the Zoho Books, right? We've created an invoice already. So in order for us to go step by step so that we can see what is done, let's go back to customer. When we go to customer, we want to now create another customer. So just come to new, click on new, okay? When you click on new, you're going to determine the customer type. Is the customer an individual or is the customer a business? So this time let's say the customer is actually a business, right? You can see select the salutation if We are talking about the contact person. Salutation can still be like Mr. or Mrs. depending on you. So let's say Mrs. Dauda. Mrs. Bauda, Linda. Okay, very, very, very names that are rioting. So when I come to the company name, if there's any, right? When you come to the company name, because we are clicking on business, right? You can click on Dauda, Linda, Dauda Linda Mall. Then your display name now. How do you want it to show? When the show as Dauda Linda Mall, since the person is a business, right? You can actually leave it as Dauda Linda Mall. That is fine. Then the next thing is that email address. You say, okay, Dauda Linda 34 at yahoo.com. Okay, something like that. Then the next thing you want to do at their number 070 709556. They'll go to so just like any number I'm just typing. It's not anybody's number. So in case don't think it's an actual number, I just guessed it. So the language remains English. Then the tax now, what is tax applicable on that transaction? Yes, VAT is applicable on almost all transactions, provided the transaction is a vatable transaction. Then company ID, if there's any, you can put it. Then currency is always going to be in Naira. Then account receivable automatically receives any transaction that involves sales, right? So account receivable receive. So then let's say opening balance. If these people are owing us before, like you are not now. If this is the first time that you are creating them on this Zoho platform, okay. If it is the first time you are creating this customer on the Zoho platform, and then it's not like they have been transacting with us and we have been putting them on Zoho before, that is when you should put their balance. That's when you should put their balance here. So it's not like when I create this customer now, then they are owing us. Then when I want to create another customer, when I want to create another of their invoice, number one, you cannot create customer more than once. So once you've created the customer, you have created the customer. Okay, so the aspect of either they have been transacting with you before on the same Zoho Books, and you cannot recreate their name. So their name will be created only once. So that's not issue. So the first time you are bringing in a customer into Zoho Books, so you want to ask, is it another customer that has been existing on another of your software before? If it's a customer that is existing on your software before, check for their balances. What is their balance? Most times, we assume that customers are actually defaulters, right? They are actually debtors and they are going to be owing us. So let's assume that this guy is owing us 5 million. So let's just assume that this guy is owing us 5 million. So it's a company actually. So let's say they buy on credit. So they're owing us 5 million. The next thing we want to do is that payment terms, are they due in the next 30? Is it the next 30 days that the payment is due, or in the next 15 days, the next 45 days, the next 60 days? So you can also configure your own terms based on how you want to have it. So let's say they're owing us in the next 30 days, they need to pay, then that's fine. The enable portal allows portal access for the customer. If you like, you can allow the portal access for the customer so that the customer on his own can also enter this place and check their balances and all that. But it's not actually necessary for you to allow portal access for a customer, okay? Most times you want to keep their information private, that they can only get what you want them to see, if possible. But if your policy of the organization is you allow the customer to have access to your portal, it's fine. So, but I know that Zoho Book will not allow a customer to make any adjustments to your system, right? They can only view, they can only be like a viewer. They view their transactions and they have no right whatsoever to want to like change or tamper with the transactions. Okay, so that being said, let's now move further. So next thing we're going to do now is I'm going to now go further and go straight to, yeah. So I think all the things that we've done is fine. If you like, you can add more steps to it. You can add the address of the company. You can add the contact person. You can add custom feed. Now, this custom feed now, I told us that when you go to custom feed, you go to your settings, then go to your preferences, and then customers and vendors and all that. So you can do a lot of things under custom feed. Like it's under custom feed that you can put some checks and balances. Like if you want to put custom feed, you can go to under your custom feed, go to your settings. After you go to your settings, then go to your preferences. Under your preferences, you can tell that, okay, anytime an invoice has been created, because somebody asked me this question before, he said, when an invoice, so we just like onboarded Zoho for a particular school, okay? Now the guy now asked me that, okay, how do we monitor people? How do we ensure that people don't actually tamper with our figure or our data after they leave our organization? So he gave us some instances whereby an accountant can be very angry with the company and feels like the company did not treat him or her well. And because of that, the accountants want to take revenge on the company. And the best thing to do is to delete the data of such kind of company. So under this custom feed now, this is where you're going to put some checks and balances that before you delete something, there will be somebody that approves. So it's until that person approves that this thing can be deleted, you can't delete. Okay. So all those custom feeds, those are the areas that you should also look out for. With that custom feed, you can be putting some checks and balances and all that. So then the next thing is that even when you are creating a customer, you can make one place permanent that compulsory, that just like with the way we have display name is actually very important. If you don't put this display name, no matter anything you put in this invoice, sorry, no matter anything you put in this customer, whatever, it's not going to allow you to save the customer because this display name has not been selected. So you can also put another approval process that, okay, until you get a feedback from so supervisor, you cannot create an additional customer. So this enables you to keep your record intact and all that, and people can easily pass anything to your account and pass anything out. So you can create all those, what would I call it now, for each of those accounting modules, okay? So now when I come over here, if you like, you can create custom feed, if you like, then reporting tags and so on and so forth. I think we are good with what we have here. Then let's just click on save. So we click on save. Now we have a customer that we have created. So as we have created this customer, the next thing we want to do is we want to go back to our sales. Under our sales, right? We want to click on sales and then go to invoices. Now for this customer that we have created, right? We want to now create an invoice for the customer. So we'll now come to our invoices, right? So come to the right-hand side corner. We see where they put new. Click on new. Once you click on new, then you can see where you select the name of the customer. So let's come over here and search for customers. If you click on this drop down, you can see the name of the customer because your customer is just 2. But I'm trying to tell us the standard procedure in case you have 1 million customers and the customers will not appear easily like this. So what you need to do is come to this your search box, right? Click on this search box. Then here in the middle here, type the name of the customer. Let's say you're talking about Dauda, right? So when you click on Dauda, then click on search, and automatically it's going to bring all the Dauda in the system. So here we have Dauda Linda, and that is fine. This is what we are looking for. You click on it, and Dauda Linda has been selected, which is the name of the company, Dauda Linda Mall. Fine. The next thing you want to do is you want to now come here. The invoice number is going to be there automatically. If you like, you can change it to whatever custom you want. But I think this invoice number that they actually did for us is actually good, so we can leave it like that. Then your order number, is there an order number you want to put? You can put your order number here. The invoice date. Now this is important. Is the invoice issued today? Are we issuing this invoice today, or there are times that some transactions or have actually happened, but we just did not issue invoice as at that time. So you can also backdate your date to that period in which the transaction actually occurred. So once you've done that, then the next thing is that this stuff will go to account receivable, which is normal. Then the next thing is that the salesperson. Is there anybody on this transaction that have been bidding, that have been following this, that Linda Mall up, that have been chasing them up and down for them to actually patronize us? So if there's anybody, that is the salesperson. So you want to put it under their transaction to show that they are actually working. So that at the end of the day, you can quickly check and say, okay, how much did Sandra make in the month? How much customer did Sandra bring to us? And all that. So click on new salesperson. So let's say we have Sandra here. So let's say we have Sandra. Okay. Then we can have our email address. You can say Sandra Cole at gmail.com. So Sandra Cole at gmail.com. So this is fine. Then we can click on save and select. So we click on save and select. So now this salesperson now is Sandra Cole. So you mean that whatever transaction that Sandra Cole has a hand in, okay, that Sandra Cole assisted us to actually execute, we always track it under a name. So that at the end of the day, you can just say, okay, give me the total sales that Sandra Cole has been able to make for the year or for the month. You just search it by the name, okay? I'll show us how to go and get all those things, but don't worry, let's continue. Then here we now have the subject, right? Let's say we repairs of Jeep. Okay, so Jeep, let's just leave it at Jeep or whatever other name that want to put it. Repair of Jeep. Then we'll now come over here and start selecting the item. So let's go and select. Now, I like to select item in bulk. Now, I just go and click on select item in bulk. Once I click on select item in bulk, then I want to proceed. So the first item I want to select is actually, among all these items, we want any customer that comes to our company to therefore pay for inspection. Want to inspect the vehicle to be sure of the actual fault that is actually affecting that vehicle. So we click on inspection and diagnostic. The next thing we want to click on again is apart from that, the next thing we want to click on again is what else? Okay, let's say after we've done the inspection and diagnosis, then we can easily tell that this vehicle we need spare parts. Okay, so we select spare part as well. Then we want to say, okay, probably after fixing this vehicle, we also need to do wheel balancing and alignment for the vehicle. Then we might take the vehicle for washing. Then we might get a vulcanizer to work on the vehicle, on the tires. Then at the end of the day, we now collect our service charge on that transaction. So this vehicle workshop income contains both your sundry, your procurement, and also the service charge that we want to take. So we now add the item. So when you add your item, it doesn't mean that you have added all the value to the item. You're still going to go and do the value of the item, but some of them, because of the way we customize them, the values are already there already. So we now go back to them one after the other. The first thing we selected was actually vehicle inspection and diagnosis, and that is fine. The item, the amount is there, which is fine. The next one we also selected is vehicle spare part income. So for this one, we don't know how much it is. So we just come here. Let's assume the spare part that we need for this stuff is just, let's say 700,000. Okay, 700,000. Then that's fine. The next thing we want to look at is this our wheel balancing and alignment. We already have a custom amount, which is also fine. We have a custom amount, which is also fine. Then the next thing we want to do is want to check for our vehicle detailing. We already have an amount there also, which is fine. Then organizer service. Let's say this guy collects, let's say from us, he collects, let's say 5,000. Okay, let's assume he collects. Sorry. This is the amount that we actually sell this service to our customer. We sell it for 5,000. Probably the vendor that is helping us to do that stuff, maybe it's just going to collect like 2.5 or 1.5. It doesn't consign the customer. The customer's own is that as far as the transaction has been executed, they have no issues with it. So they have no issues with it. So now the next thing we want to do is this. Once we've done what we've done so far, we want to continue to the next item, which is vehicle workshop income, which happens to be almost the last item on the list. So for our vehicle workshop income, let's say we just want to just call this like let's say it's 350. Everything, both the sundry can be 20K, procurement can be 20K, then the actual price for it can now be maybe like 250. So let's just have like 350 here. Let's just have 350,000 here. So once we have our 350,000 here, fine, everything is looking good. Then we want to now come over, and if you want to add a note to the customer, you can add a note to the customer over here. Customer's note. If you want a customer to note something, you can add a note. Then here, if you have either a discount or whatever you want to do, any adjustment, maybe there's a discount you want to give to the customer, you can probably put the adjustment here. Then if there's a shipping charge that was not added to this, so you can quickly put the shipping charge over here, which is also going to help us in whatever we are trying to do. Then the next thing is that you want to look at the terms and conditions. You can put a term and condition here, like all payments paid, all invoices. Okay, let's say that all services rendered in good condition are known, like this, are non refundable. Okay, so you can just put that clause there. So all services rendered, right, and whatever in good condition, they are not refundable, whatever. So you can just coin out whatever you like. Use this in future for all invoices of all customers. So you can create a term and condition that applies to all customers. Just try and get a good something that can actually work for your organization. Then once you've gotten all information that can work for your organization, you can click on this box to use this for all invoices of all customers, so that in case you even forget to put it, automatically Zoho Book is going to put this term and condition for you on its own. So I didn't get something fine here. Let me delete this, and I think I will try and get something better, right? So because we might be using that for all our invoices going forward. So let me quickly come and customize one that I can use. Just give me 2 minutes, please. 2 minutes. Okay. Hold on, I'm coming. I'm coming. Okay, so I'm asking, so I think I've gotten something I can use now. Yeah, so food payment is due upon receipt of invoice unless otherwise agreed in writing. For special orders and imported parts, a minimum 70% deposit is required before procurement. Balance must be paid before delivery or vehicle release. Then late payments may attract a 5% monthly interest charge on outstanding balances. So we can do that like this. This can look very fine. So on payment terms, we can actually say full payment is due upon receipt of invoice unless otherwise agreed in writing. So we can just put that, okay? Full payment is due upon receipt of invoice unless otherwise agreed in writing. Okay, full stop. Then we now go further for special orders. And so I'm just showing you all the functionality that Zoho Books actually have, so that you're not just limiting yourself to only the things that you can see. There are certain things that you might not see, except you continue to check all the interface of Zoho Books. You might not actually get those things. One of the things I'm doing now is I'm putting like a terms and condition for service, which can also warehouse the disclaimer. For instance, if you want to make sure that any payment that you receive, you don't want to refund it, this is where you can also put that all payments received are non-refundable. So you can always do that anywhere. Just put something that the customer cannot say, I didn't see, because you have that on record that you actually sent it to the customer and the customer cannot deny such claim, right? So if you are together, simply drop a thumbs up. A thumbs up. Let me be sure that we are still together. Thumbs up if you are together. If you are together, just drop a thumbs up. That's good. Thank you. So we are still together. So let me just finalize with what I'm typing so that we can just move away from here and see everything that we can actually do. So that one is required before procurement. Okay. Before procurement. Well, procurement, full stop. Okay. Balance must be paid before delivery. Before delivery or vehicle release. So that's that. Then the last thing we want to do is that they say late payment. Okay, late payment may attract a 5% monthly interest. 5% monthly interest charge on outstanding balances. So I think we are done with this one. So yeah, we've been able to like get something that makes sense, which can actually go into all our invoices, and it makes sense a lot. So after we've done this, then if you like, you can decide to customize. You can set up a payment gateway, or otherwise here you can also see if you want to tell that you've received payment, you can also come here. But if you are trying to get payment from here, it has to be full payment. You have to receive full payment. But in a situation whereby you want to show that you receive part payment, you cannot get it from here. So we check here, you see here that I say I have received payment. So just click on it. I have received payment, and then it's going to tell you what's the payment mode. Probably the payment mode is actually bank transfer. Then where did the payment go to? Now we only have this because we've not actually used our chart of account to actually create all the cash and cash equivalent. So the only cash and cash equivalent I can see here now is just this petty cash and undisposed fund. So let's just leave it at petty cash. Okay. Now I also told us that when you are trying to capture payment from here, you can't capture part payment from here. Okay, you can't capture part payment. If you are capturing payment from here, let's try and capture part payment. Let's see what happens. Let's say we want to capture 1 million. Let's see if it's going to work. 1, 2, 3. So 1 million. So let's now come over and save. Let's see. You see, the sum of split payment is less than the invoice total amount. Adjust the split amount such that the sum of split amount is equal to the invoice total. So you can see in that place, when you're trying to receive payment from this side, right, you cannot receive part payment from here. So if you know that it's not part payment you want to capture, you can use this module, right? You can use this place to go ahead and do it. But if you know that it's part payment, don't receive payment from here. Don't put I have received payment. But if you want to capture full payment that they are paid fully, okay, you can. That is when you can use this place and say I have received payment. So you now select the payment mode, okay, to bank transfer, then deposited to this, then the amount is fine. Then we now go straight to now click on save. But I don't want to do this. The reason is because I still want to show us that certain things were withheld. So let me know receive payment from here. Let me know receive payment from here. I will not click on I've received payment. So let me just go and save as draft. So once I save it as draft, then I can go back to the stuff again. So this is stuff, right? So yeah, the first thing you want to do is that you want to click on you want to send invoice. So it's either you send the invoice. Remember, we already have the email address of the customer, right? We already have the email address of the customer attached to the invoice. So you can easily send the invoice to the customer by clicking on send invoice and it goes straight to the email address of the customer. However, you can also mark it as sent. So you can also mark the invoice as sent. So once you mark this invoice as sent, it's assumed that a transaction has been executed, right? Even though the customer may not have paid you, but all the postings have been passed. Income are always credited, then your account payable is debited to show that the customer has not actually paid us as at the moment, right? So that is what it's showing. So you debit the customer and credit your sales account. Then the next thing you want to do is that you want to now receive payment now. Now, because we want to receive payment, this is what we're going to do. Let's click on record payment. So you can actually record part payments as well. We can also record that, what's it called? You can also record that a withholding tax was deducted on your account. So the first thing you want to do is how much is the withholding tax? This is a company. So we assume that this company is going to deduct. Yeah. So because this is a company, it does not matter the amount of withholding tax is going to deduct. What matters is who is it deducting it from? Is deducting it from us, right? And we are also we're a company as well. So because of that, let's say I don't actually know the withholding tax rate that is applicable now, especially with the new tax law. I don't know the withholding tax rate that is applicable now, but I can always check it and always get the answer in case anybody wants to in case anybody needs any of this information, right? So okay, so in case anybody needs any of this information, so what we want to do now is that we want to now say, let's assume that they withheld 10% from us. So we now say that 10% of let me see, 10% of this amount is going to give us like 119,345. So we want to now deduct this amount from this value. So we can say 1,193, right? Then 450 minus 10%, which is 1,193 and 45. So what is remaining when we deduct this? We are having 1,074,000 and so on and so forth. So this is what I want to do, right? So here I want to show that a part payment was received. I don't want all the part payment to be received. Let me only put 1 million here. 1 million, 1, 2, 3. So 1 million was received from the customer. Then did the customer also withheld any money? Yes. The customer withheld some money from us. So you can see here, tax deducted. Tax deducted. You can either select no tax deducted. At default, this is what is going to be selected. But because you know that a tax was deducted, you do not click on yes, tax deducted at source. Do not click on yes. So now it's going to give you the room to express yourself, express what you are trying to say. So here, how much is withheld? Let's say they withheld 10%, 119, which is 10%, 345. So they withheld this amount from us. Then what account does it go to? Is advance tax. Then the next thing we want to have, now don't also forget that the advance tax that we have, we still need to go back to our, what's it called? We need to go back to our chart of accounts. We need to do a lot of adjustment to the items in the chart of account, because I told us that we can't just work with whatever chart of account that they are giving to us. We need to fine tune our chart of account to look the way we want it to be. Normally, this advanced tax that we have over here should be withholding tax. Okay, should be withholding tax, and we have it on our in our file over there, which we are going to go and check. So now, once you've selected these, the next thing you want to do is that the payment date, you can say it's the same. Then what is the payment mode? Let's say the payment mode was bank transfer. Fine. Then what is the deposit? Where was it deposited to? It was deposited to the petty cash. The reason is because we have not created any cash and cash equivalent yet, and we need to do that as a matter of urgency if we want to continue in this training. So we are still going to do that, but let's leave it now. This is like petty cash account. Fine. Then the next thing, we want to add any notes to the customer in case you want to put a reference. If you, in case, then you can now send it. So so you can see here also it's saying that send a thank you note for this payment. So a note is going to go straight to the customer to tell him thank you for actually patronizing. And I think here they did not even put any notes per se, but I think Zoho is going to generate a note on its own that will tell the customer that the customer has done a wonderful job well. So we can click on save as paid. We can click on save as paid, and voila, look at it. So let's go down and check what has been done. Over here, we can see that our payment made, the payment they made to us was 1 million. They withheld this value, which is 10% of our money. Then, but they did not also pay all. They are still owing us 74,105. I'm just showing us that you can actually be receiving part payment little by little, little by little. So it's not by force that you must settle everything at once. But I can show you here that tax has been withheld, okay? And that you can see the way we treat our withholding tax on the account. So what I'm going to do now is, from tomorrow, we try as much as possible to create more chart of accounts, because the more we have chart of accounts on the software, the more room we have to actually do other things that we needed to actually do. So I think we are done with our sales and our customers. I already told us that we can actually go to our customers and come over here and export the file for customers. Once you export the file for customers, you can go there, populate so the file, this is how it looks like, okay? So this is how it actually looks like. So this file that you have here, which is an Excel file, you can tell Zoho Books what format you actually need. But for me, I said I preferred XLXX. That's what I preferred, and that is the format that I actually have currently. So once I have this, then we will now go and populate it based on the numbers of customers that we have, so that we don't start doing manual work. Once we populate all these things, then we can quickly go back to our Zoho Books again and come over here and come and import now. So the first thing we did was to export. The next thing we are going to do is to import, and we are going to import back those lists that have been customized to our taste. So that is fine. That is fine. So let's leave that. We are done with our invoices. We are done with creating customers, but we can still go and generate all the customer lists that we have, so that we can also upload it onto Zoho. Then the next thing we want to do is, let's now go straight to our purchases. So under purchases, this is where you capture your purchases, your expenses that you have incurred, your bills, your recurring expenses, your vendors. You can create vendors from here as well. Payment mode made. You can tweak payment that is made, vendor credit, and so on and so forth. So now this vendor credit now is just looking like an opening balance to vendors, right? So vendor credit. So you can quickly create one. Let's go and check for our, let's check whether we see customers. Okay, so credit note. Credit note also can be created for our customer. So in case you know what credit note is now, does anybody know what credit note is? Let me see if on the call, if I enabled people to speak. Does anybody actually know what credit note is? Yeah, so I think you know. So fine, you actually know. So that is good. So in case that customer, in case you are owing the customer any money, I've shown us where we need to input when the customer is owing us. Like we are just creating the customer, and then the customer is already owing us a certain amount of money. Maybe we are like getting that information from another accounting software, want to bring it into Zoho Books. So those customers that want to bring into Zoho Books, we should actually put their opening balance. But in a situation whereby a customer has paid us, then probably he now returns back the goods. Okay, you can easily go and create a credit note to the customer to show that the customer, you are owing the customer. So that's the only way you can show that you're actually owing a customer. So it's going to give you, under the sales module, you're going to see where you can actually do these credit note, okay, to the customer. That's fine. Let's not leave here. Let's go to our purchases. As I said, under purchases this time, we want to create a vendor. So you can click on create new vendor, or you can click on new, whichever you like. So let's just click on new. Fine. Here we have family contact, salutation, Mr. The first name, Adebowale, Adebowale. Fine. Then the surname can be Joshua. Okay, very good names. Then, do they have a company? If there's a company name, you can put it. Then, how do you want the name to display? The name is going to display like this. Then, email address, if there's any, you put it. The phone number also, you put it, okay? Then, the language of the vendor has been created to English already, but you can also select and click on any other language that the vendor understands. Let's say it's a vendor that does not understand English, but you are still dealing with a vendor. So maybe the vendor is in Korea or is a Chinese man. You can easily select that the language you are using for the invoice is actually Chinese, and so on and so forth. And then once you send the invoice to the guy, Zoho Books, I don't know how Zoho Book will do it, but I think Zoho Book has a way of translating that information to that guy in his own language. Then apart from that, we come to our we come to our tax that we need to select, which is VAT. Fine. Then we check for other information that we feel are important. One of the information that is important is the opening balance of this customer. Is this customer owing us? This is a vendor. Sorry, this is a vendor. So what is the opening balance of this vendor? Maybe this vendor has been selling to us. We are owing certain amount that we have not paid the vendor. So then we are just creating the vendor now on another account, which is our Zoho Books. But we already know in our books that we are owing the vendor certain amount. So you can come to the books, right, and create the balance, opening balance that you are owing the vendor. put it over here, right? Then apart from doing that, and don't forget that you can only create a vendor once, and it's only that once, the first time you're creating the vendor, that you need to put in the balance, opening balance of that vendor or customer. Okay, so once we've done that, the next thing I want to say is that how do we pay this guy? Do we pay? Is money due once he has given us receipt? Or sorry, is the money due once he has given us the invoice, or does he allow us to owe his money, to owe him for 15 days? Does he allow us to owe him for 30 days? Does he allow us to owe him for 45 days and 60 days and so on and so forth? So let's just select. Most times it's always good for you to have a very good rapport with your vendor. And if your customers are doing due on receipt, then your vendor should do something like 30 days, right? Or if your customers are doing next 15 days, you should be doing like net 30 for your vendors, so that the customers that you have, you can easily collect the money that they are owing you, and before 30 days, you can settle your vendors with the money. So you can make the time that your customer are going to pay you to be shorter than the time that you're going to pay the vendor. So that you can use the money that the customer pay you, is that same money you want to use to actually settle your debts. Okay, I think that is fine. So once you have done that, then we now come over here. We can quickly save off. And yeah. So what we're going to do now is let's now create a transaction for this guy. So let's now go back to our purchases, right? Under our purchases, we want to go to expenses. Click on expenses. Okay, so this is the expenses module or whatever it is. Yeah, so this is expenses module. Okay, no, we don't want to do this now. Okay, so we don't want to. So you can also enable auto scan. So in case the customer the vendor, in case your vendor has an invoice that he has given you, right? You don't need to start creating that invoice again. Just come here and scan the invoice, right? Just scan it. It's going to scan it and it's going to extract useful information that it needs for whatever transaction that it actually wants to execute for you. So let's go back to our expenses. When you go back to your expenses, don't forget you can actually receipt invoice, you can receive inbox, or you can do all the expenses. So let's come over here and click on new. When you click on new, right, you can actually do bulk expenses. You can do bulk expenses. You can also record mileage. You can record expense. So this is the first stage. Let's assume we want to record an expense. Okay, so let's assume that on the same date, on the 4th of February 2026, there's an expense that came up. And what is that expense? The expense relates to our income. So let's assume that here we have a guy that helps us, or let's say we bought a spare part for that vehicle, right? We bought a spare part for the vehicle. Then the next thing is that how much is the spare part that we purchased? Okay, I didn't also tell us that most times some of these sales price that we're using, we always mark up the spare part, right? If spare part is to be like 50,000, you always mark it up. So you're going to be having like they mark it up by either 70% or by 60%. So for those of you that have vehicle, so that you are aware of what is going on. So now the spare part that you are buying, okay, for your vehicle, to repair your vehicle, they usually mark it up. So the spare part is not the same amount you're going to see it in the market. In the market, when they're going to buy it, it's going to be cheaper. But when they buy it for that amount, they now mark it up again before they now issue it in your invoice. So where you are paying 150 for the spare part, the company can go on to buy it for just 70,000. For you, they gave you 150. Okay, so those are really where they make their money. So now this is the spare part, right? The spare part now, let's say we go to the market and we actually purchase it for, let's say, 250,000, right? 250,000, right? So now, once you have that, you are asking yourself that this amount of money that we purchase it, is it VAT inclusive or is it VAT exclusive? So most times, always work on VAT exclusive. I know the reason. Once you work on VAT exclusive, then you cannot select VAT on the line items. You can select VAT on the line items. But if you select VAT inclusive, right? You select VAT inclusive, it means that on the line, this amount that I'm putting here contains VAT. That's what you're telling. If you say VAT inclusive, you're saying that this 250 I put here contains VAT. But let's always select VAT exclusive. It's better to be on that side. So that when you have selected this and it has shown you the actual amount, you can now go to where we have VAT and click that, okay, apply 7.5% on this transaction. And that is what is good. That's what we need to do. Okay. So once you've gotten 250,000, then the next thing, where are we paying it through? Are we paying it through a bank or are we paying it through? So currently now, the only money that we have is actually in our, what's it called? Our petty cash. That's the only place where we have our money here, right? So this transaction, does it involve tax? Okay, no, let's leave it empty because this is a vendor's payment, right? It's not all vendors that actually demand for tax from us. So let's leave it blank, okay? So then the next thing is that the vendor, who is the vendor that actually we are issuing this we are capturing his expenses? Which of the vendor is it? We quickly come here to vendor and then we now click on the drop down. If there's any vendor, it's going to show. So we have only one vendor. But if there's no much vendor, or if there are thousands of vendors, you cannot use this drop down to get them. You can always go to this search bar and search for the vendor that you actually want to use for whatever transaction that you have. Then the next thing you want to do is that the reference number, if there's any, you want to also have a note. If there's any note that you want to add to that kind of payment. Then the next thing is that you now ask that, okay, what customer did we actually buy this spare part for? Because we know obviously that this spare part is not going to be eaten by us. We are actually buying it because of one client, because we have already cost it for a client in the repairs of his vehicle. So when I say, okay, which of the customers are we attaching this kind of payment to? We now come here, we now select any of the customers of our choice. Let's say we are selecting the first customer that we created, which is Ademola Tajudeen. That is fine. So when you select Ademola Tajudeen, then that is the customer that we are buying this spare part for. The customer that we are buying this spare part on his or her behalf. So that is what we are actually having over there. So if you can check, there are certain things that are priority that you must select, which is all this is a priority. And that thing you're going to select is this expense account is a priority. This date also is a priority. The amount is a priority. Then the paid through is also very, very important. If you don't select all those things, you cannot scale through with what you're actually doing. So I think with these, we are good. So let's just click on save. Click on save or press Alt X. So click on save and automatically we already have one expense in our books. So with this, I think we have come to the end of today's class. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to unmute your mic and ask questions. So Adetoye, Adedamola, I can hear you. Are we together? Somebody is raising his or her hand and I can't, the person is not saying anything. If you know you have any question to ask or any clarification you need or any observation, just unmute your mic. Okay, have I not given us the opportunity to do that? Let me check. Okay, let me check. All right, I've not done that. Okay, so I've turned on your mic. Okay, so if you have any question now, feel free, unmute your mic.
Yeah,
And
good evening.
yeah, good
Good
evening.
evening. Thank you for the opportunity. Always, it's always a pleasure hearing your voice this every weekend now. So my question is, number one, why did we not start the whole chart of account first? The reason being that for those of us that don't understand that much, so we can get it and it won't have backlog of always saying that we haven't started this and this. That's the first one. Secondly, for an organization that already has um a software and are moving to Zoho Book, is there a way we can impute all their opening balances first? Or do we just assume that they are just starting afresh? Do you get me, sir?
Yeah, I do actually. I do. Are you done?
Yes, for now.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. So the questions that you asked, the first question you asked is, why didn't we just capture all the items in the chart of account, right? So we look at it that now, if you are in a class where we're doing that items on the chart of account, right? It took us like almost a day to actually finalize with it, several lectures on it and all that. Then we now started capturing it manually. A lot of people were like, why don't you upload it at once? I had to start explaining to them that the reason why we didn't upload that once is because there are going to be a lot of back and forth. There are some items that we need to like make inactive. There are some items that is they made compulsory. You cannot delete it. So we just need to, in order to just keep it clean and neat, so that we don't have any item hanging anywhere around that we don't need, we needed to follow that method. Okay, and that is the only module that we are going to do manual for. So we did not finalize on that, okay, on all the chart of account, because we don't want to base all our lectures on only chart of account. There are a lot of things to learn, and we want to at least let people see that they are progressing in the training. So that doesn't look like, okay, yesterday we work on chart of account, they work on chart of account, tomorrow we're working on chart of account, they continue to work on chart of. So that is why we are also taught us how to also create our own company, so that at the back end, whatever chart of account that you've had, you can also go on to now like onboard it into your own Zoho. Then if you have any challenge, you can always reach out, and then I will attend to as many people as I can as possible. So that is for that. Then for an organization that is just starting, sorry, that is like that is operational already, but you want to like move into Zoho Books, okay? So it's very easy. What you can do is this, just like so you normally have like your trial balance. The trial balance is the list of ledger balances, right? So just have your trial balance, and when you're done your trial balance, you already have all those items. Now, you will note that everything you need is actually on Zoho. If it's asset, if it's the opening balance of asset, when you check those items that we've imputed, it's going to ask you that, okay, is there a balance? Is there an opening balance? Is there a this? Is there that? There's a way you can always capture in all those opening balances. Then when it has to do with debtors, creditors, okay, we know who the customers are that are owing us, so we can easily create the customers on Zoho and also put in the amount that they are actually owing us. Okay. Then if there are vendors as well that we are owing, we can also create vendors on Zoho and also impute the amount that we are owing them. Okay. So we've done that already in the class. I'm surprised that you're still asking for opening balance. So Mr. Ade Toye, I hope you understand. Okay, so
Yeah,
is there any
there's
other
two
person that
questions.
has
Sorry,
any
sir.
question? Okay,
Can I go on?
go on,
Okay.
go on.
Also, let's imagine I'm in an organization, and I feel like they are not well organized in terms of their accounting software. I want to ask, is it advisable that okay, I open a Zoho book of accounts for my own personal record? Okay, instead of me using Excel to build this, to build that, can I open a Zoho book of accounts and always insert their record there, so I can have an accurate reporting at the month end? Also,
Okay, so fine. Thank. Okay, go on, go on.
if I am to Like if I have that, say that I want to or I have to. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear. Go on, go on,
If I can user see wherever.
go on. Okay, I don't know. It's like your network is poor. Probably you try and ask again. But let me just try and answer the first question that you asked, right? So instead of you doing double work, why not go
I'm done,
work?
sir.
Okay, so why don't you work? I can hear you. Yeah, I know your network. Yeah, so probably you should log out and log in again, Mr. Adetoye Adedamola. Why you should log out and log in again? Probably that will help. So what you can do is this, in case you're on the call, what you can do is this, make sure that for that kind of company, you can walk up to the company and tell them that, see, I have something that is going to give us the best solution for this. I can't do manual work. Tell them you cannot be doing manual accounting for them anymore. Technology has become is everyday thing, right? People are advancing technology. You can even tell them that, see, I know this software. I can install it for you. I can create your company online. I can get everything into the so that you can also access it from anywhere you are. So just sell it to them. Let them know that this software can actually undo their business effectively. So once you're able to convince them like that, there's no way they will not buy into your idea. And then with that, you continue to practice your postings, practice to also get familiar with all the modules on and all that, and then YouTube will become good. So Mr. Banwe Samuel.
All right, thank you, sir. So my question is this: I want to ask. Okay, supposing we already have a existing ledgers on the Excel. I want to import it on the Zoho Books. Is it possible instead of
Okay, so
entering
like
it one by one?
what kind of ledgers were you referring to?
Maybe from our vendors ledgers, we want to import on the Zoho Books
Okay, so I
instead of
think
entering it one by one.
yeah, so you are trying to say you want to create a vendor. You want to just capture all the vendors that you have. Is that what you're trying to say? Or with all their details, with everything, all the transactions that
Yeah,
they have? Is that
details,
what
the records.
all the I think on that, just like you go to customer, you're going to see, look at this. This is the customer template, right? Under this customer
Okay.
template, you're going to see something like the names and all that, the phone number, the currency, the website, is are they active and all that. Then the receivable. So you can see we have your opening balance, right? Opening balance, what do they call this one? Is it exchange or whatever? Opening balance exchange rate. So you're going to be having opening balance. So the opening balance that you have, put it here, and so on and so forth. Then you just continue capturing as many details as you can on these whatever that they give you. So once you now upload these back into Zoho, automatically Zoho is going to capture those details that you have. So what you just need to do is that first design or first go and create a vendor. Once you create a vendor, download the template of vendors on the way it is on your Zoho Books. Once you be able to download it, then that stuff is what you can now use for populating all the other information that you need. The another thing you also want to do is this. Another alternative is you can also go and export the trial balance. Have your own trial
Okay.
balance, right? Then also go and check on Zoho the trial balance that Zoho has. So export that trial balance that Zoho have, then populate it into their format. Then we upload it, we import it into Zoho, and automatically those balances that you're even talking about are going to be there on their own because you've exported it from your what's it called using your trial balance, and then you capture it inside. Is that okay, sir?
Yes, sir, it's fine, sir.
Okay, so any other question, people? Any other question? Yeah, Ade, okay, okay, go on, Mr. Ade Toye. Ade Damola. It's like your network is still poor. I can't hear you. Mr. Ade Toye, Ade Damola. So if you're having any challenge, kindly drop
Hello,
your.
sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go on.
Okay, I said I want to ask regarding performer invoice and sales invoice. So now you know the first thing is let's assume a customer requested for invoice first. So we would send a performer invoice to the customer. Abi.
Yeah.
So if we send that performer invoice, hope it will not appear as sales on
No,
our
it's not.
Zoho book, or do we have to go and do something to ensure that it does not capture it as sales invoice? Then at
No,
the
it's not.
point where the customer sells, when the customer pays, we now recognize it as invoice. What are we supposed to do at that end?
Okay, so this is I think for your own sake, I think it's a quote that you're going to send to the customer. There is
Okay.
no my invoice, so send a quote. So you create one. Okay, so just create a new quote. The same way you are creating your invoice is also the same way. Is that all the same information that you need? But the only difference is that, yeah, it's not going to show that it's an invoice. It's going to show that it's a quote, the name of the customers, okay, the reference, then you have the salesperson, the project name, then the like that. Then you just go on and do all these things and then you send. So this one now is not going to tell you that to capture payment because they know that it's just a code. So it's when you have sent it to the customer, you can always forward it to him as an email. When the customer now say, okay, it's fine to go, then you can now go back on that invoice, just like the way there's a time we created an invoice that we didn't even mark it as sent. So once you now go back to that invoice, right, the code, they tell you, do you want to convert it to an invoice? You say yes. Then once you convert to an invoice, then that is when it will capture the details that you have done. It will capture it in your account. But other than that, it's just going to be like a quote. Until you convert a quote to an invoice, it does not become an invoice. So that's just the difference between a quote and an invoice. Okay, you can see it under sales.
Thank
So
you.
yeah. So for vendors now, you're going to talk about bills. It's a bill that the vendor is going to send to us. So it's a bill. We receive the bill from the customer, from the vendor, and then that bill you can decide to either accept or whatever. So just create it and so bill, right? So like that, and that is that. So okay. So I think in the absence of any other question, it's 12 minutes past 10, and we wouldn't like to sleep on this call. So if there's any other question you want to ask, drop it on the chat box, or you can drop it on the group, or you can ask it within the next 2 minutes. Other than that, I would say it has been a wonderful time with us. Thank you for your presence. You can see that they say many are called, but few are chosen. It started by having over more than 1,000 people, but look at the number that we're having now. We just have only we started by having over 100 in the class, but look at the number we're having now to show you that people don't actually value things that are free. Assuming they've paid for it, they wouldn't do it like this, but it's fine.